The summer sun beat down on the forest trail as 6-year-old Kevin chased a butterfly through the undergrowth. His mother had told him not to wander too far from the campsite, but the iridescent wings were just too beautiful to resist. He pushed through a curtain of ferns and stopped dead in his tracks. Something was lying in the clearing ahead, something that definitely wasn't from Earth. The creature was humanoid, but unmistakably alien. Her skin shimmered with a faint silver-blue luminescence, and where her left arm should have been, there was a jagged wound, leaking a fluid that looked like liquid starlight. Her breathing was shallow, labored. But what caught Kevin's attention most were her eyes, large, amber-colored orbs that fixed on him with a mixture of pain and wariness. "Help," she whispered in accented English that seemed to bypass his ears and speak directly to his mind. Kevin should have run. He should have screamed. Instead, he sat down cross-legged in front of her, his small face serious. "You're hurt," he said simply. The alien, her name was Mia, she told him later, stared at this tiny human child who showed no fear, only concern. In her 300 years of life, she had encountered thousands of species across dozens of galaxies. Most ran from the unknown, most attacked what they didn't understand. But this small human just pulled off his backpack and began rummaging through it. "I have band-aids," Kevin announced, holding up a small box decorated with cartoon dinosaurs. "And juice. Mom says juice makes everything better." Mia felt something crack in her chest that had nothing to do with her injuries. She had crash-landed on this primitive planet 3 days ago, fleeing from the Zethari Empire that had destroyed her homeworld. She had expected to die here, alone and forgotten. She hadn't expected a child. Over the next 2 weeks, Kevin returned every day. He brought food, water, and stories about his life, his favorite teacher, his pet goldfish named Captain Bubbles, his dream of becoming an astronaut. He also brought bandages that Mia taught him how to apply properly to her wound. The human medical supplies were crude, but the boy's gentle hands and unwavering presence helped her heal in ways that went beyond the physical. In return, Mia taught him about the stars. "That one," she said one evening, pointing to a constellation Kevin had never noticed before, "is Ethra. My home. Was my home." Her voice carried a weight that made Kevin's heart hurt. "I'm sorry," he said, and meant it with every fiber of his being. Mia looked at this small human who had saved her life without hesitation, who mourned for a world he'd never seen and people he'd never met. She made a decision. "Kevin, would you like to learn something special? Something from my world?" His eyes lit up. "Yes." From the wreckage of her ship, Mia retrieved a bow. It was unlike anything on Earth, made from a material that seemed to shift between solid and liquid, with a string that hummed with barely contained energy. It was a weapon? Yes, but among her people, archery was also an art form, a meditation, a way of life. "This is too big for you," she said. And then, to Kevin's amazement, the bow shimmered and shrank until it fit his small hands perfectly. "But it will grow with you. As you grow, so will your skill." She taught him the basic stance: first feet shoulder width apart, body sideways to the target. "Archery is not about strength," Mia explained. "It's about focus, patience, understanding that the arrow and the target are already connected. You're just revealing that connection to the world." Kevin didn't understand all the words, but he understood the feeling. When he drew the bow for the first time, something clicked into place in his soul. The arrow flew crooked, landing nowhere near the tree trunk they'd marked as a target. But Mia smiled. "Again," she said. Every day after school, Kevin practiced. At first, his mother thought it was just a stick and some string he'd fashioned himself. She smiled at his imagination. She didn't see how the toy glowed faintly in the dark, or how Kevin's aim improved at an impossible rate. Mia taught him more than technique. She taught him discipline, how to calm his breathing, how to quiet his mind. She taught him geometry and physics through the arc of the arrow's flight. She taught him ethics: when to shoot and when to lower the bow. Most importantly, she taught him that true strength came from protecting others, not dominating them. "Humans are young," Mia told him one day as they sat watching the sunset. "Your species is impulsive, emotional, sometimes destructive. But you're also capable of incredible kindness. You saw a dying alien in the woods, and your first instinct was to help. That's rare in the universe. Kevin, that's special. 6 months after their first meeting, Mia's wound had fully healed. Her ship, partially repaired with Earth materials, and Kevin's enthusiastic if unskilled assistance, hummed with renewed power. It was time to leave. Kevin didn't cry, though he wanted to. Mia had taught him that warriors honored their feelings, but didn't let them control their actions. Will I see you again? He asked. Mia knelt down, placing her hand on his shoulder. The universe is vast and strange, and our paths may cross again. But even if they don't, you carry a piece of my world with you now. She touched the bow. Use it wisely. Use it to protect those who cannot protect themselves. As her ship lifted into the night sky, Kevin stood in the clearing and drew his bow, pointing an arrow at the stars. He didn't shoot. There was no target, no threat. It was a salute, a promise, a goodbye. 20 years later, when Earth made first contact with the Galactic Council, the human representative was a young man named Kevin. He arrived at the negotiating table with a bow across his back, an alien bow that had grown with him, now a perfect fit for his adult frame. The alien diplomats recognized the craftsmanship immediately. Earthen work, impossible to replicate. How had a human acquired such a treasure? Kevin smiled and began to speak, his words carrying the same patient wisdom that a silver-blue alien had once taught a 6-year-old boy in the woods. Let me tell you a story, he said, about the day I learned that the universe is full of friends we haven't met yet, and that sometimes saving one life can change everything. The delegates leaned forward, listening, and somewhere among the stars, Mia smiled, feeling the pull of an arrow that had struck true across the vast distance between them, proving once again that humans, young, impulsive, emotional humans, were exactly what the galaxy needed. The end.